Hi there, and welcome to another MBH Fireside Chat. I'm your host, Melissa J Shea, and I'm here with Rob Slow from all the way from Australia. No, New Zealand. Yeah, so I'm so glad you could join us today.
Thank you.
And so you actually have the role with Cape Construction, and it's a new role, right? So you want to share what your new role is?
So the role is vice principal,
Right.
with MBH. So that's a new role, which came into effect earlier this year. I think it was January was the first principals meeting that I attended.
Yeah, because we, as principals, right, we also get very busy. So Dave is the principal of Cape.
Correct.
He was also one of the founding MBH companies that came on board, right,
Correct.
in 2018. And so what it does is sometimes it's just us as principals that know about MBH, and yet we get tired of, we're busy here or busy there, but having this vice principal role helps because then you get to come to conferences like we're here in London, right? Mm-hmm. So what has this done for you to help understand MBH?
Look, I guess for me it's being able to be here today with the other principals and vice principals, right, and meet with them, talk to them, particularly in the construction sector, which is where I am. Right. Talk to them around their challenges that they're facing and things like that. So it's opened up what MBH actually is. Obviously I've had conversations with Dave around it, and I've seen online, but just seeing it firsthand through a different lens, I guess, is what I've found.
So it's always been difficult to tell our story, right? It's always easier to experience our story, right? So what MBH is a group of multiple businesses coming together globally, and that diversification in different sectors, right? We call them verticals, get to collaborate and grow the company, right?
Yeah,
so.
Correct. And that was it. So that's what we're working on at the moment, is working in collaboration with our verticals. So. Right. You know, within the construction industry globally, right, I came into it thinking, well, what can a construction company in the UK provide for me, or vice versa? We're very different markets. Right. But in reality, talking to them, we are all, like I say, facing the same challenges. Right. The operational side is the operational side, and that's all around legislation, and we're different markets there. Right. But supply chain, slow payers, right, labour shortages, skilled labour, right, those types of things, we're all facing the same issues. Yeah. So
you guys are also having like the start and stop of contracts, right? You start a job, right?
Correct. So you're awarded a project, and then you're going to start, and then they put it on hold, and then this changes, and then that changes, and that's globally. So I didn't realise that it is a global issue. So talking to one of the other principals from one of the construction companies in the group, they have been start-stop on a hotel project, and so it
makes you not feel so alone after a while.
Absolutely. And so they're facing it. We've faced it. So have a chat. How did you resolve it? This is what I did. That's what.
What also I found is there's so much talent in that room, right? Whether it be from all different sectors, right? You got the educational sector and the construction sector, probably the two largest verticals that we have, right? Yeah. But then you also have food and beverage, you have real estate, and you have different sectors, but collectively we address issues like mergers and acquisitions. How does that work, right? And today we were learning about strategies, right? So it's that kind of message is what we're trying to get to vice principals like yourself, right? So I'm so glad you're here, but what would you say to other potential vice principals about MBH? What would you say?
I'd just say come into it with an open mind, have a look at it, see what it's all about, try and just bring some experience, bring some knowledge, and take experience and knowledge from the other people. Like you say, there is a lot of experience in the room across different sectors. Right. So just come and soak it all up and try and take away as much as you can.
Yeah, we were also talking about most of the staff that we have don't get to be exposed to MBH, because one of the beauties of MBH is that you get to run your company like you used to, right?
Yeah.
You know, you have that autonomy to run it how your day-to-day operations, because, you know, who's going to know your company better than you, right?
Exactly.
And so that non-disruptiveness also leads to most of the staff not knowing what MBH is. And
yeah, which can be a positive and a negative.
Right.
I would, you know, the negative is, like what was raised in the room today, was there is a huge staff pool there that we could tap into for various, you know,
resources,
expertise,
yeah,
resources and so forth. So from that side of it, it's a negative. It's also a positive because it is, it's just carry on as per normal.
Right.
So from a business perspective, you've got the bosses,
Right.
and they are just doing, you know, running the company, doing the day to day.
Right.
And what's behind that, people, you know, that's actually doesn't matter from the staff's perspective.
Right.
So
Right.
so yeah, positives and negatives around that.
Yeah. I think now, you know, having been here, you'll be able to communicate that to your staff a little bit better, that there's something, you know, they're part of something bigger than just CAPE in itself, you know, and there's opportunities for them to grow in leadership, you know, because as we take on more roles. And have you thought about mergers and acquisitions for CAPE?
It hasn't been something that we've put onto our radar at this point. It's something that we need to look through and see how and if it would work.
For your area.
Yeah. For us. We're a very small market, so just trying to see how or what we could do there. So yeah, it hasn't been something that's come across yet.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting, when we get together here in these, and I haven't been able to execute on a merger and acquisition till finally now, but it was great to see the taxi cabs for a company, right? It's a great example of how they just bolted on and added different marketplaces to what they're doing and have grown so much. And the Take Me model, you know, which is the taxi vehicle, and vertical. Not just a vehicle, they're vertical. But yeah, that kind of stuff is really what they get to share with us, right? So
Yes.
then you're like, oh, maybe it is possible, you know.
Absolutely, and I think, I mean, again, just keep an open mind around all these things. So we can take all of those learnings from all the different verticals and all the different companies within those verticals,
Right.
and look and go, okay, well, they've added on this, and you know, you've added on that. What could we add on? Is there
Right.
something that we can add on, rather than taking over another competing business or a subcontracting business?
Right.
Can we just do a bolt on?
Right.
So those are all the things that we'll put into our long-term strategy to start thinking and see what we can come up with.
Yeah, and I think that's what these sessions are, right? Strategies that are, you know, sometimes when we're focusing our business, that's all we see is the forward. We don't see the bigger picture sometimes.
Yeah.
So taking this time. It's also nice that for a principal like myself, I don't have a vice principal yet. So to have somebody that I can share the MBH experience with on my leadership team would be nice. So as I'm starting to select who my vice principal would be, it's nice to see one come to the meeting and see how you are adjusting to the new role.
Yeah,
So-
no, it's going well, and
Yeah.
and it is good to be able to talk to Dave and as the principal,
Right.
and yeah, take information back to the rest of the leadership team as well. So,
And it's also good, yeah, it's definitely good for Dave too, because just having that ability to share some strategies, yeah, it's really a good dynamic. So I'm glad it's a new role, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad I got to meet you, Rob.
yeah,
That's
likewise.
really nice.
No, it's
So,
been nice.
yeah. Well, thank you for joining us on this edition of the Fireside Chat. And so for our audience, thank you so much for joining. This is Rob from CAPE Construction, all the way in New Zealand.
Yeah.